Dun, 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 dun. Two. Iron Man is the start of the MCU, the greatest and biggest franchise of all time, and the franchise that owns some of the highest grossing movies, including the highest grossing movie of all time, Avengers Endgame. Now, when I saw Iron Man in theaters back in 2008, honestly, I just thought the movie was okay. I kind of forgot a lot about it, and I couldn't remember that much about it. I remember the desert scene and some of the Iron Man suit up scenes where he's putting on his Iron Man suit. I had just come off of Spider-Man 3. But now, after seeing all of the other MCU movies, I realize just how important this movie is. Without this movie, we wouldn't get the MCU. But anyway, let's talk about the good things in this movie. This movie is not perfect. I agree with Animath. This movie has a lot of issues. But let's start with the good. The suit in this movie is freaking cool. It would feel amazing to put on a suit just like this and fly. Now, a lot of people, they say Iron Man. Some people say that Iron Man's really not a superhero since he doesn't have any superpowers, but his superpowers come from his arc reactor. He actually does become a superhero. The arc reactor becomes a part of him and a necessity for him to live. So he actually does become a superhero. He becomes kind of like half robot, half man. His intelligence also makes him Iron Man. Also, the action scenes in this movie are pretty phenomenal, except for the last one. I don't think that the climax is that engaging. The villain shows up only for like a few seconds, and we'll get into that later. But the casting for Iron Man / Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., he absolutely killed it. He is Iron Man. Like he says, he is Iron Man. Nobody can replace him. If they do an Iron Man remake, they can't do it without Robert Downey Jr. They just can't. Because he embodies so much of the character. He is Iron Man. Also, Gwyneth Paltrow was really good in this movie. And, what I think that, she was a very nice and kind-hearted character in this. She's better than she is in Iron Man 2, I'll just say that. So, let's see, are there any good things? When he built his first suit, it's actually a pretty triumphant and really cool scene where he uses his first suit for the first time. It looks like crap, but he made out of nothing, and that's what's so cool about it. And he fights off this army of terrorists, and, he escapes. And that was pretty cool. Now let's get to the problems. Now, one of the problems for me was Jeff Bridges. The villain, his motives, they make sense, but he's not the best MCU villain. He's not a villain that you think of, when you think of MCU villains. A lot of the villains in the MCU are rubbish, but he's very forgettable as a villain. His acting was good, but he's just not that memorable. He shows up as Ironmonger for like a few minutes, and that's just kind of weak in my opinion. He's just some guy in a giant mech suit, and the suit, it looks kind of atrocious. It doesn't look as refined or polished as the Iron Man suit. He's basically just a big guy in a big mech suit. He doesn't put on the arc reactor in his chest. He's not inhabiting any superpowers like the Green Goblin in the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. He's just not a good villain. Terrence Howard as Rhodey, he's very forgettable. Actually, I forgot about this actor when I saw Iron Man 2. And I didn't see Don Cheadle in the first Iron Man. I was wondering, I had a very faint memory at the time. Whenever I came out of a movie, I would instantly forget the movie until I saw it again. Then I remember the full movie. But Terrence Howard is honestly very weak in this movie. He's not really the Rhodey like Don Cheadle was. Don Cheadle embodied every aspect of Rhodey. Don Cheadle was Rhodey. He was a perfect choice to play War Machine. Terrence Howard walking out of Iron Man 2 was kind of a blessing in disguise. And let's get to the post-credit scene, the very first post-credit scene for an MCU movie. It's pretty freaking cool when we see Nick Fury and he says the universe is getting bigger. And that's when the MCU really kicks off. That's when we get into the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Overall, Iron Man is a good film. It's not the best MCU film. Heck, this is the franchise that has Avengers Endgame, one of the coolest and most triumphant and memorable movies of all time. But it's still a very fun action flick. Not bad for a first movie. I give Iron Man an 8 out of 10, the same grade Anime gave it. It does have a few issues, but not too much to really call it a bad movie. The suit-up scenes are pretty cool, and the few action scenes are pretty good. But anyway, what do you guys think of Iron Man? Is it your favorite MCU movie, or is it one of your least favorites? Let me know down in the comments. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to skip Incredible Hulk because I don't have that movie and I haven't really seen the full movie. Also, Captain Marvel is not going to be in my reviews since I got bored watching that movie. And if you've seen any of my videos on my other channel, Ethan the Director, you know that Captain Marvel is one of my worst MCU movies. So, but get excited because next time I review an MCU movie, it's going to be Iron Man 2, the sequel that everyone says broke the camel's back on the Iron Man franchise. That's going to be fun. And quite controversial because I have a very different opinion to most people. See you guys later.